Chris here at Friendly Frenzy Games, and today I'm going to be helping you complete the Steampunk DLC in Escape Simulator. We're going to explain and solve all of the puzzles in the last room of this chapter, and it is called the Helm Room. Thanks so much for checking us out. We've got a library full of Escape Simulator walkthrough guides just like this one. Give us a like and subscribe to Friendly Frenzy Games if this video helps you. Let's dig in. So as you can tell, if you followed any of our journey through the Steampunk DLC, we've kind of worked our way through a couple of different areas inside the Valor kind of steampunk floating blimp kind of ship looking thing. We are now at the helm where we are able to kind of take control of it all and pilot it. So essentially what we're looking to do here is kind of put everything in motion, and ultimately we're going to escape through this hatch here, but we're just going to basically get it back on course here. So if we first just open the kind of lever beside our exit door here, it's going to unlock the Valor flying manual, and this is going to tell us the order that we need to solve our puzzles in. So it's saying here to remember to do this in the correct order, otherwise the system's going to restart. So obviously we need to start with our power lever, then our radar, our throttle, and finally the helm. And you can see here that the flying manual on the right side also has pictures of what each one of these kind of puzzles look like, or where they need to be completed. So we'll go ahead and we will start with our power lever. And where we're going to find that is actually just on our far right side of the ship here, and you can see we have something that kind of looks like a big computer, or almost like a cell phone looking thing here. And again, this is our main power lever here. So if you trace the wires and stuff through, you'll see that it's kind of right into the back of this oscilloscope. What we need to do, obviously we can see it's kind of glitching out here a little bit. We need to turn the dial until we get everything tuned appropriately. And you can see that we kind of focus in here on the electrical generator output. So this here is what we need to be able to kind of recreate on our power lever to kind of restore power in the ship here. So we can pop this panel open really quickly. Just use the lever on the bottom here of the power, and that's going to open our output calibration grid. Like many of the other puzzles in the Steampunk kind of DLC set of rooms, it is kind of grid-based. What we're looking to do is basically just plot a -2 to the 2 to the +2 kind of thing. What that's going to look like on the grid here is we're just going to pop in, we'll go to -2 and 2, and that's going to be our first plot. Come back in here to our second one, and we have a -3, and we're going to plot that on 1. Come back here, and we have our 1 here and -3, so we'll plot that. And we now have a -4 and +3. So we can go ahead and plot this here too. So our -4 we said and +3, and just like that, it's going to flip the power lever open, or over anyways, and it's going to let us turn that green. And you can see up top here also, Valor system status, we have the power restored. Our next one, this is just going to kind of follow the same order as the book, the flying manual is telling us. But our next one anyways is our radar lever. So that's just the machine over here on our left. You can see that it's kind of poking out the top here with a little bit of, it's like a little telescope kind of thing. What we need to do to first kind of power this up is we need to get, we need to fill out our radar power board here with these kind of electrical little balls here. So if we turn around, we can see there's one in the middle of the map, the magnetic sphere. Turn around and we can plug that in. There's one up kind of by our control panel here, just on the left kind of cubby side. So we can pick that up and plug that in. And then I believe we have one, I don't remember if it's in here. Might actually be, yeah, so it's just actually underneath our kind of map table here in the left cupboard. So we can just go ahead and plug that in. And now what we need is to open the right cupboard of our map table here on the side that's closest to our radar lever. And we get a coil setup cube. And if you can see here, just by looking at this, you can see that it mimics the power board on the radar here. You can see that each one has kind of lights. So this is our first one here, our second one, third, and fourth. And then it's going to be the same kind of thing on the cube here. So you can see that our first, once we hit the red button on top, it's going to show us where each kind of number needs to be positioned here. So we'll go ahead and turn our switch on with the red button up top, and you can see now that our first sphere needs to be on the very left side. And how we do that is just by kind of messing around with the switches on the bottom here. The trick to this one though is that every time you hit a switch, it's going to impact multiple spheres at the same time. So we need to come up with the right combination that's going to align with everything that's on our cube here. So again, we have our first number here in the left position where that needs to be, but you can see also that it's affecting our third position here. So you can see our third position needs to be kept in the middle. What we need to do is try and find a series of a series of switches on the bottom here that's going to allow that to happen. So we have, obviously with the second switch pulled at the same time now, it's adjusted our first kind of number, it's adjusted our third. Our third's in the middle now, like it's supposed to be, but our first number now is in the top left. So we're going to try and need to activate the bottom one here so that it pulls our first ball back into the middle on the left side. So you can see we have that now. Our third button has been kept stationary too, but you can see that it's affected our second kind of number or position here also. So if we turn around and look at the cube, we see that this one needs to be in our bottom left position, and we know that our fourth ball needs to be up at the top. It hasn't been affected by any of the switches so far that we've pressed, so we gotta kind of go through here and make our series of adjustments. You can see that our first one here got affected, our fourth one here got affected, but it didn't do anything to number 2. So we can try and reset this just to get everything to where we need it to be. We just need to make sure that we can get something that's going to adjust our fourth one here. So you can see that that messed up both of those. And this switch messed up our third and fourth one there, or third and second one, sorry. And now we have the proper combination here. So it's going to be the first 3 switches need to be in the down position, and then we have our 7th switch in the down position also, and that's, as you can see here, it's going to give us the combination that's from this kind of cube setup here. So we have our first position in the far left. We have our next one is the third position, so you can scroll this around to our third. Needs to be in the middle, and you can see that's there. And then we have our fourth position needs to be in the top, and finally our kind of second one here needs to be in the bottom left, and we're all good there. So just going to toss that cube to the side, and we now have access. As you can tell, our radar has been powered up. What we need to do now is, you can see here that we have 3 different kind of coordinates. Again, this is very similar to the grid-based puzzle that we just completed for the power switch, but we're just looking to input C2 into this to see what it gives us. So we have kind of a couple of different dials here. We said we want C2 as our first kind of position, and you can see that there's a hot air balloon kind of out in the distance. We just use this kind of wheel here to zoom in, and you can see this just floats up and down, and it's actually going to give us the symbol that we're looking for here. And we're just going to press this. There's a series of buttons underneath. We just want to find that one that kind of has all 4 corners lit up. So that's just going to be our 4th button here, so we can go ahead and hit that. Our next coordinate we can pick is H2. So we can light up H2 now in the same fashion. So H2, you can see we'll just wait for our hot air balloon to float down with our symbol here, and it's just 3 across, and that's our 3rd button there. And now our last one here is E0. You can see that it's in our 0 kind of circular quadrant here. So we'll just do the same thing, E0, and we'll wait for this to pop up. And we have all but the middle one lit up. And that's just going to be our 8th button here. So you can see with those combinations of 3 lights, it's flipped to our radar station lever, and we can just pull that down, and we're all good to go. So you can see that our radar is back online, and everything is good with that. Obviously, following the next system, we have our throttle. So our throttle is just right here. What we need to do is first pick up these instructions, and it's saying more or less that the throttle had to be locked, and to get the code, we need to get our Look-O goggles from the engineering tube in the mail system over here. So how we actually figure out how to use this, on the flip side of this mail table that's kind of closest to these, or sorry, of the map table that's closest to these mail tubes, we're going to have another two cabinets that we can open. We want to open the far left one, and it's going to give us the pneumatic mail manual. So we can open that up here, and it's talking about the pneumatic mail canister, which was also in that cupboard. So we can go ahead and pick that up and kind of get an idea quickly of how to use this. So what it's saying in the written notes down here is always forget how to get the new daily code. It's the combined new daily code from each of the 3 different quadrants in the ship. So the deck, the crew's quarters, and the greenhouse. And only those code buttons must be pressed. So you can see here that the book's telling us there's a few different commands that we can actually use on this pneumatic canister to have the recipient kind of know what we're looking for it to be able to do. So obviously, because we know we need to get the new code, we can, and again, it's the greenhouse, the crew quarters, and the deck. We can first start by prepping this. If you open it, there's nothing inside right now, so we can give that a quick close. We're on request status right now. We know we need a code. There's a few different options up here, obviously request coffee, request equipment, and request new code. We'll turn it to request new code, and we can drop it into the greenhouse canister, or the greenhouse tube right now, and just pull the lever. So we can wait for this to send back to us, and it's going to give us the new code for the greenhouse. So if you collect it, open it up, and just open the door, we're going to get a scroll. We'll close this back up, and we can see if we open the scroll quickly, that we get a star symbol. So I'm just going to drop that for now, and we can do the same thing. Once you set the code, or once you set the top kind of request to request new code, we don't have to switch it. You can just drop it into the next tube to get the next symbol. So we'll drop it into crew quarters now. Again, we know we got star from the greenhouse. We'll see what the crew quarters gives us here. Open this up. And we can see really quickly that it is now a cross. So we have a star, we have a cross, and we will drop it into the deck and see what this one says. Perfect. So we have a star, we have a cross, and we have a cog. So where we're actually going to input this now is, if you see along the bottom here, there's the series of symbols on the bottom of the tube. We know we had a cross, we know we had a star, we need to spin it around a little bit to find the cog. And here we are. So we have the star, the cog, and the cross for the new daily code. And now what we need to do, because we have the code, is request equipment. If you remember from our initial instructions, we need to request the Look-O goggles. You don't have to request that specifically, it's just requesting equipment. And you can see here also that obviously to request equipment, you need the code. We have the code and it's already inputted, so we're all good there. We just have to make the adjustment up top here to request equipment. And again, we know from this note that we need to request it from the engineering tube. So we can go ahead now that we've kind of have everything in place, we can drop it into the engineering tube and pull the lever. And we can wait for this to bring us our goggles. And we have our goggles now. So we aren't going to need the tube again. I'm just going to throw it in the corner here. You're going to want to bring the goggles up and just quickly inspect them. And then if you hit the kind of clothespin up at the top, it's going to equip them for you. And you can see all of a sudden there's the invisible ink that this note was talking about. And we're looking for a series of directions kind of painted across the room here. So you can see we have full ahead 2. That means that we're going to be going full ahead in our second position. Under our bench here, you can see there's some light also. It's slow ahead 3. So our third position is going to be the slow ahead. We need to find 1 and 2 now. If we kind of go up to our throttle here, we see full astern in our fourth position. And to find our first position, actually, if you just kind of turn around and look up a little bit, you can see that we're half astern 1. So we know that half astern is our first position, so we can go ahead and do that. So half astern. Astern is on our left side, and then ahead is on our right side. You can see that just by the kind of middle markings here. So we said we had half astern as our first position. Looking back here, we have full ahead as our second position. We can go ahead and put it on the ahead side and go to full. Under the bench here, we have slow ahead 3. So again, we're keeping on the ahead side, but we need to pull this to slow. And then our last one here is full astern in the fourth position. So we will drag it to there, and you can see that we have all 4 lights lit up here, and we have now unlocked our throttle station lever. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and take these goggles off because it's kind of annoying seeing everything in green once that puzzle's done. I'm just going to toss these clues out of the way now since we're good with that, and I'll throw this out of the way too. So now we have our helm, and there's a couple of different puzzles that we need to complete to be able to actually unlock our helm controls. I'm just going to throw everything off of this map table because this is ultimately where we are going to kind of end up completing some puzzles next. Get rid of this pistol. And we want to pick up our route diary from the bottom right kind of cabinet here under our map table. If we give this a quick look, we have 2 different routes here and then a set of instructions. So if we quickly go to our save combination here, we know obviously that this is the compartment that it's going to open. We have a 2-digit combination for route 1 and we have a 2-digit combination for route 2. So what this is saying at the bottom here is that the safe accepts solutions in a specific order. So we have to complete our longitude, and our longitude number comes first, and then our latitude number. And then we also need to start our routes from the middle of the map, which is marked by the red X. And then also, this is just kind of letting us know that we don't need to add our routes together. We just put the results from route 1 under route 1, and then obviously route 2's results under route 2. So that's important to note. We can go ahead and set up our puzzle first and foremost. Again, it was saying to make sure that we're starting at the red X, so you want to make sure that your longitude is dragged to line up with your 0 or the middle, the red X here. We'll do the same thing with our latitude just up the side, and you can see now that everything is kind of pointed towards our red X here. We'll clear this off the table. We don't need the pen, and this is actually going to be the clue for our helm puzzle at the end, so we don't need that quite yet, but don't throw it away because we will need it. What we're going to need actually to complete this table is, if you kind of remember really quickly our route diary, you can see these kind of diagrams here. So we want to just pull this distance traveled board over here to make it a little easier to complete this puzzle. So we'll go ahead and we'll solve for route number 1 first. So I'm just going to pin it up in the top corner here. You can see obviously our first diagram, we're going to the west. We just need to kind of match that diagram now to the distance traveled. So you can see that on the right side here we have kind of a smaller line and then a larger line. That's going to ultimately represent 15 distance traveled, but we're going in the western direction. So from 0, we'll go west 15. And now we have up and down, so we're going to pop over to our latitude number here. We're obviously going south, and it is going to be, with the 2 longer lines, it's going to be 20. So we'll go from 0 to 20 here. Our next kind of instruction here is to go to the east. We want to go east 50. So we're not going to the 50th mark on longitude. We're going to add 50 to the 15 here. But again, we have to kind of consider this as like a negative 15. So really when we add 50 to it, it's going to be plus 35 or east 35 now. For our next instruction here, we're going to go back to our latitude and we're going to go north 10, as you can see here, just by the 1 longer stick there. So we're going to go from 20. Again, similar in our last thing here, because we're south 20, if we're adding 10 north, it's going to still ultimately end up at our south 10. And then for our last kind of instruction here, we have 5 as just the kind of horizontal line here, and it is in the southern direction. So we're just going to basically add the 5 south to the 10 south, and we're going to get 15 south. So we're not looking to actually add. I'm just going to unpin this really quickly. We don't want to put the 35 into the lock. We don't want to put the 15 into the lock as our longitude and latitude. As you can see here, and if you noticed, as we were kind of rolling this slider along, it was changing our actual kind of number output on here. So what we need to put into the lock is just the number that's represented on our slider. So again, we know by reading these instructions that our longitude comes first, and our longitude, you can tell here, it's the horizontal versus the vertical, but longitude is here. Again, it's not the 35, but we do want to put in the 3 first. So we'll go ahead, route 1, and we'll plug in 3 as our first number, and then we can just kind of match this up, and we have 2 as our latitude, and route 1's combination is 32. So we'll go ahead now and reset everything to 0, our longitude, and we'll do our same thing with the latitude. And again, we can pull up our route diary for route 2 here. So the exact same way we solved this puzzle for route 1, we're going to do for route 2. You can see here we're going to go west 50. So we can start here by going west 50, which is right in the very kind of left corner of the map here. Now we want to go south 20, as represented by those 2 longer sticks there. So latitude to 20 south. Now we want to go with our latitude, or sorry, our longitude, east 20. So we're adding 20 east to our 50 west to give us 30 west ultimately. Now we are going to go south 15. And this is where I kind of don't where I don't really agree with this puzzle, because you can't really go further than 25 down. You basically need to leave this latitude parked in as low as it's going to go. The lowest, obviously, we can't really add 15 to that. We can really only add the 5, so it's going to stay at 25 here. And then for our last kind of instruction, we have 15 east. So we will add 15 east to our 30 west, and we will get 15 west ultimately. So again, our longitude is going to be 4 for route 2. I'm going to quickly unpin this. We can plug in for our first number in route 2, 4. And again, like I said, this is kind of where I don't really agree with this puzzle, because it shouldn't really be. If we were to have added 15 here, we would have really been at, 35. And you could have figured out with the slider that the next number would have been a 1, and the next number after that would have been a 2. But what we have to do here, maybe it was just supposed to be a little bit of a trick, I'm not sure, but what we do have to do is just input this number, which is the only one that we could reasonably get on here. So we have a 9. So route 2 is going to be 49 as its combination. You can see it's going to unlock this compartment here, and we have a gear. We need to just kind of stick the cursor in the middle here and spin it until we get all of our instructions in the middle of each one of these 3 quadrants. And this is ultimately going to tell us how to spin the helm at the end of the puzzle. So now that our route diary is done, we're going to throw that out of the way, and we are going to go to our plate collecting. So as you can see here, they needed to disable the helm. We need to now find all of the starter plates in order to be able to activate the helm again. So there's a few just kind of strewn across the room. There's a couple of compartments that we didn't open. Obviously we have a 2 here right on the right side of our throttle. We also have another plate under our oscilloscope over here. We have our 4 plate. There's a couple of other plates in the room, but they're all going to ultimately be unlocked through this chest. And if we look at this chest here, we have a 3-digit combination and what look to be almost like propellers or like gears or something mechanical anyways, obviously being a steampunk room. And what this is corresponding to actually is our plane turbines, engines, our propellers out here. And then as well, the fan in the middle of the room. So we have a series of controls over on our right side here. What we need to do is actually turn both of the engines off. So turn the starboard engine off, we turn the port engine off, and then we can go ahead and turn our fans off. And you can see now if we look out the window that our fan or our propeller out here has a number written on it, as well as it has like a 2-line marking on it. So we can go ahead, we know that our propeller with the 2 lines is going to be 4. Go ahead and put that. Again, we said our propeller with the 2 lines happens to be the last position in this lock, but it's going to be the number 4. We can go ahead and do the same thing with our other engine here. Obviously, it has 3 markings on it, and the number is 7. So our first number here is going to be 7. And then if we just look upwards here, now that our fan is turned off, it doesn't have any markings on it, but we know it is our fan. We have the number 3 written on it. So the combination for this kind of propeller mechanical chest here is going to be 734. You can see that this pops open and we get our last few kind of plates here. So we have all that, and I'm going to just throw this flying manual out of the way because we know we're on our last step here. So what we need to do now is just go over this puzzle. So what we essentially do, if we go up to the helm here, we can see that we're missing all of our plates need to be installed into here, but we don't know the order, and that's where our clue is going to kind of come in handy. Obviously, we have the north direction marked, and we also have our 3 plates, so we're going to use those as points of reference. We see here, obviously, the north. Our first instruction here is that the southwest position plus south equals southwest. We know we have a 0 plate, so whatever position or whatever plate is in the southwest position is going to be our southwest, and we know that 0 is going to be south. So we can see here that by looking at this, obviously our north position, south, would be just directly across from it here. Southwest on our left side. So we know that southwest is 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pin this up real quick. So southwest, so being 3 plus S equals southwest. We know, again, because we have a 0 plate, southwest, or 3 plus 0 is going to be southwest. With that, we can deduce that south is 0. So we have that here now. It's going to give this a quick spin. To get our next kind of instruction here, or to get east, we need to add 4 to south. Again, we just solved for south. We know that south is 0, so we know that east is going to be 4. We need to make sure that we put 4 in the right position here. So to do that, we pull up our 4 plate. We put it in east. Obviously, our north being here. Here's northeast. Here's east. Awesome. So now we have our next instruction. So southwest plus east, so essentially 3 plus 4 is going to give us southeast. Well, we're in our east position here. Here's south, so between those two is going to be southeast. We know 3 plus 4 is 7, so we'll plug 7 in here. Our next instruction, southwest plus southwest. We know southwest is 3 plus 3 is going to be 6. Obviously here, our west is directly across from east, so we can pull that, and we know west is going to be 6. So we can plug that in. Now we have east plus east is northeast. East being 4, so 4 plus 4 is going to be 8. We know that north, between north and east is going to be northeast, so we'll spin this. One caution that I do have is you want to kind of make sure that you're spinning to be able to place these plates. The first time I did it, I actually had to restart the room because I tried to place like a further plate from here, and it ended up getting lost, and I couldn't spin it. It just kind of faded. I don't know what happened, but I had to restart the entire room based on that. So I would recommend, just so you don't have to restart anything, kind of spinning this as you go and just kind of make sure that it's right in front of you for easy placing. Obviously, we have 1 plate left, but just to make sure that our math checks out, we'll go through and do the last series of instructions here. So we have northeast minus the west. So our northeast again here is 8 minus our west. So 8 minus our 6 is going to give us northwest. Obviously, we have a 2 plate left. We know that 8 minus 6 is 2, so we can go ahead and plug that in. We can tell that we're right here because everything lights up, and we have our helm unlocked. So we can go ahead and we can throw this clue out of the way. And what we need to do now is, actually, I believe our clue here, where did I throw that book? There is a, yeah. Okay, I was going to say, there is a clue that actually says we can't let go of the helm, and that's another thing that we got to make sure we don't do also. Okay, I don't remember exactly where that is, but anyways, what we need to do with this puzzle now is we need to just turn the wheel in these directions. So you can see here that with this one, our first instruction is to turn clockwise first 2 times. But the trick is, like I said, I know it's written on one of the clues, I just can't remember exactly which one it is, but you can't let go of the helm when you're doing this. I thought you'd be able to basically put in like your first set of instructions and then let go. You can't. You have to do it all in one kind of motion. So we'll go through and we will turn our wheel clockwise, and you can tell it's 1 full rotation because this will light up yellow. So I'll show you here with our first instruction. So we're going to just turn this. That's 1 full rotation now clockwise. We'll go through and do our second one. I haven't let go of my mouse button here. That's our second rotation. You can see now, kind of with our pinned instruction here, that we have to go counterclockwise 1 time as our second instruction. I still haven't let go of the wheel. I'm still kind of clicked in on my left mouse button. We're just going to do 1 counterclockwise spin. And you can see we hit that light. And now we're going to do the same thing without letting go. We're going to do 3 spins in a clockwise position again. So 3 full spins. We'll watch for 3 lights. There's our 1. There's our 2. and there's our 3. And you can see if you follow that correctly and you haven't let go of anything, you'll get the helm station lever. And just like that, there's nothing fancy about the doors. It's just going to automatically unlock for us, and we have now completed the Helm Room and solved all of the puzzles in the Valor blimp kind of steampunk paid DLC series of rooms and escape simulator. So hopefully you enjoyed the ride here. We're coming very close to the end of all of our escape simulator content here, so really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Really hope that these videos have been able to help you solve any puzzles that maybe you've struggled with, or any questions that you might have had about why they worked how they did. If this has helped you, drop us a like, drop a comment, give us a subscribe to Friendly Frenzy Games, and there'll be plenty more guides just like this one.